Let's get right to the top three things you need to know as the clock hits 9 a.m. Southwest's meltdown shows no signs of relief. The company canceled over 60% of its flights this morning and warned it could be days before things return to normal. Shares are down again on the news.
That's right. Plus, zero COVID might be coming to an end in China, but other countries say not so fast. The U.S. joining Taiwan and Japan in considering restrictions on travel from China as COVID-19 infections grow. We've got the details for you.
And forecasting is hard. Wall Street got a lot wrong this year, but will 2023 be any different? We've got predictions from top strategists going into next year later on in the show. But of course, begin today with our top story. Southwest flyers and investors are seeing no relief today, with the airline already canceling 62% of its planned flights for the day as of early this morning. The airline's operational network has come under intense scrutiny in the midst of this, with Southwest CEO Bob Jordan issuing an apology in a video statement and addressing its problems.
Tools we use to recover from disruption serve us well 99% of the time, but clearly we need to double down on our already existing plans to upgrade systems for these extreme circumstances so that we never again face what's happening right now.
And that's all fine and good. Bob can post that video statement on his page, declining an interview to come on Yahoo Finance. Bottom line is this guy has been at the company for over 30 years, rose through the ranks. And if you go back and go into Yahoo Finance, the statistics page, the financial tab, you can see Southwest has been cutting CapEx for the past 5 years. Whether that is them buying less planes, whether that is them underinvesting in their business, whatever it is, this is a company that was ill-prepared to handle a situation like this. The company is really getting taken to task for its outdated technology, in large part seen, I would say, through its reduced CapEx in the past 5 years. It probably could have avoided the situation.
Well, it's still part of a broader airline operation and industry that's still trying to restore back to pre-pandemic full capacity here, too. They're not expecting to get back to that full network restoration until the end of 2023, and that involves a lot of things. That's everything from its fleet and what that looks like in its aircraft that it's operating, but also the number of pilots that they have and what the inclement weather looks like. And that's really what sparked much of the delays that took place over the course of this last travel week. But when you think about how much the capacity continues to impact ongoing operations and where they're able to just make sure that they have the necessary personnel in place even to get passengers to the right destinations right now, that gets so uprooted when you don't have the necessary kind of changeover between crews and staff, crews that may come in from one destination that are just really hinging upon their connection at another destination in order to get to a final location as well. And the passengers very much hinging on that flow through as well over this busy time of the year for travel.
Right, and that's the difference between Southwest and some of the other airlines. Certainly the weather is a part of it, right? Because you can't avoid when that kind of thing happens. You can't avoid where Southwest has exposure. But the other airlines have largely recovered and Southwest has not. And the problem seems to be, just looking at some of the anecdotal reports that are out there, that keeping track of the personnel seems to be the key issue, that Southwest is using some sort of outdated system that does not properly track the crew and pilots and where they are in real time, as opposed to sort of where they are supposed to be on the schedule, not accounting for all of these then disruptions that are happening. So that seems to be what the issue is here, and to the point, they have to maybe spend some money and update their systems. Now we know that Congress is potentially looking into this. The administration is looking into this. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has been outspoken about this, as has Senator Maria Cantwell, that the Commerce Committee is going to be looking into all of this. So there's definitely a lot of eyes and a lot of scrutiny on this. There's also the potential that this is going to hurt the company's earnings. Citi is now estimating that it could cut 3 to 5% from the company's fourth quarter earnings. So this is definitely material at this point with all of these disruptions.
And it's unclear what the longer term impact is going to be as well. You go into social media, Southwest is getting absolutely hammered around the clock from people who've had to sleep in airports, as they should. And I will go back to leadership too. I know we look at Gary Kelly as a grandfather-like figure. He did a good job there, but he's still on this board. This is the type of situation where I would think, part of the blame is also on Gary Kelly for being, he is the one that ran this company for so long. He could be arguably the person that underinvested in this business. And is it time for him to roll off? He's the executive chairman of the board. It might be time to wave goodbye to Gary Kelly, get some new eyes in there to see how this business is really operating.
Well, they're going to have to answer to investors, especially at the end of this quarter, because there are two things on that front. And one, coming back to one that you mentioned in the administration and how they're looking at it, Buttigieg in the rounds that he's been making, saying that he's making clear that the department's going to be holding Southwest accountable for their responsibilities to customers, both to get them through this situation and to make sure that this can't happen again. But then you think on the earnings front as well and how that may impact. Hurricane Ian had impact to just about every company's earnings at the end of the day in this most recent quarter that they had just reported for. So you think about current quarter that we're in, where you've got the storm of a generation, as it had been called by meteorologists. There's no doubt that this is going to have a larger impact and outsized here to multiple extent in comparison to other airlines for Southwest as well.
Yeah, and the union is calling them out as well and drawing the distinction between Southwest and the other airlines. The union president, the airline union president, airline workers union president, I should say, the flight attendants, all of this is generated by Southwest Airlines decisions. It's not about Winter Storm Elliott. P.S. I didn't know it was called Winter Storm Elliott. This is something that we have actually forecasted. We run the operation so hot that one day it just isn't going to be recoverable when we hit these irregular operations issues. So, you know, not...
I don't think this would happen at your Delta, Brad. You covered Delta extensively before you. Friend of the show, Adam Shapiro, covered Delta extensively. Ed Bastian, CEO, constantly investing in their business. Now, not to say that a storm wouldn't throw Delta off its tracks, but I don't think it would derail that company operationally like a Southwest.
Well, just look at the cancellations. It's not happening at Delta right now. And the customers are pointing that out, taking to social media. I've seen a number of memes at this point comparing airlines against one another, and I'll leave that to our viewers to go check out the memes themselves. But there you're taking a look on your screen at the stock reaction over the past month here. But then, of course, today, coming into today's trading session, you're continuing to see investors price in some of what is taking place on the broader airline infrastructure front, especially outside at Southwest right now. We'll continue to track that.